Shalom.
That was great. Thank you, Rose. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I see a lot of my self-mastery students here. Yay. So, thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite subjects. So if you know me, you know I love the word peace. It's my favorite word, and something about it resonates with me. So my daughter's favorite word is love, but mine is peace. So I want to talk about peace and kind of get into that a little bit and touch on what Hamid Bey has to say about peace and what some other people have to say about peace that you may have heard of. Is that better? Okay. But first, we're going to start with a little kind of a prayer, the peace prayer. I call it the peace prayer. So if you could close your eyes, if you're wanting to do that, take in a deep breath and release that. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. So let's all take our hand and place it on our heart. And have some deep breaths in. And release those. As you were walking in today, there was a song playing, and it's Om Shanti Om. And I also love the sound of Om. And Shanti means peace in Sanskrit. So we played that and kind of got the energy in here to be a little more peaceful. I'm going to talk, as Rose said, she kind of touched on the first point of my talk tonight, which was wonderful. Thank you, Rose. Mastering peace, and it begins with God's master plan. And the question is your life in accordance with your spiritual beliefs and your principles? So are you living your life in harmony with your soul? In lesson 63, Hamid Bey talks about this, God's master plan, and it's all about how to find peace and mastering peace. And there's 8 precepts or cornerstones or pillars for spiritual illumination. And as Rose stated, the first one is to be completely convinced of God's presence. So the question is, are you completely convinced of God's presence? Everywhere, all the time. So God is here. God is with you. You are with God. We look outside. God is in nature. But God is also in our troubling areas as well. So that's something to remember. Many of you are familiar with Mike Dooley from Tut.com. And he says, we're already in God's presence. What's absent is our awareness. So when we're at the Coptic Center, I think we're all aware that we're in God's presence. But sometimes we're in the grocery store or in a difficult situation, we may forget that. So it's just about having that awareness. The second precept is guard your thoughts. And as Mike says, thoughts are things. So thoughts manifest your reality. So I have a question for you. Who thought about coming here tonight? Michael, did you think about coming? I think we're all here, right? So we all had to at some point have that thought about coming here. Now, I thought about coming here in February, but the universe had a different plan for me, and we had a major snowstorm, and I called John and said, this isn't good. So we changed it. So my new thought is this date, which is a beautiful day. So I'm thankful for that. But your thoughts are manifesting your reality. So every thought that you've had up until this point has brought you to this place, right? And I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, so you all know that. But it's always good to have a reminder. So if your past thoughts brought you here, then where are your future thoughts taking you? So what are you thinking about today that's going to put you into your future, right? So that's something to think about. And positive thoughts, Hamid says, invigorate. So if we're around a happy person, a positive person, we feel energetic, we feel invigorated. If we're around negative people and there's a lot of negativity, that depletes our energy. I'm very sensitive to energy. I'm an empath and a sensitive, both. So if I'm around negative energy, it sucks the life out of me. So I have a hard time in public places or a lot of people, a lot of energy, especially if it's not something super positive. So this is a place of very positive energy, but there are other places that we know of that aren't. So just watch where you are and try to be in positive environments. Number 3, speak kind words. And kind words can include your social media. A lot of us are on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. And just make sure that whatever we're saying is positive and whatever we're posting is positive. And silence is sometimes the most important thing. I have an unknown quote about silence. Silence may be the best thing we can say. I can't read my own writing. The tree of silence bears the fruit of peace. So I like that. I'll repeat that. The tree of silence bears the fruit of peace. I have a lot of opinions, and sometimes I speak those opinions, especially to my teenage children, about how they should be and do and what they should do. But I'm finding that silence is probably the best response at times. Yesterday I went to the Dominican Center. Is everyone familiar with the Dominican Center? If you haven't been there, it's a beautiful place with beautiful energy. And they have a lot of classes. And I took a class on metta meditation. Has anyone done a metta meditation? Yeah, so it's a really good thing. It's about loving kindness. So with the metta meditation, it's basically 4 different mantras or sayings that you do, and you can do it to yourself, for yourself, for those that you love, for a difficult person, or for every human being on this planet. So I'm just going to run through those real quickly with you, but it's something that I think I'm going to use as another tool to kind of help in situations that might be a little bit challenging. And the first one is, may you be safe. And I think that's really good. I can say that to my kids if they're feeling unsteady or unsure. And I also like to change that into, if I'm talking about myself, to I am safe. So as I was coming here tonight, I said, I am safe. That was the first thing. The second thing is, may you be strong. So if you're doing it for a loved one, may you be safe, may you be strong. Imagine them being and having that strength to deal with whatever they're dealing with. The third one is, may you be happy. So happiness, you talked about happiness and laughter and tears, and I tend to shed more tears than laugh, so that's good, or a good reminder. So thank you for sharing that. But may you be happy. Happiness seems to be elusive today, right? We all are striving for happiness, but sometimes it's hard to get to. And the last one is, may you live with ease. And I think of that as living in peace, right? So may you live in peace, may you live with ease. So what's the opposite of ease is dis-ease, right? So we want to live in ease so we can remain healthy. So meditation, they suggest you do it to yourself, some benefactor, like someone that's been your mentor, like John, loved ones, strangers, difficult people, or all beings. And you can just kind of run through that practice and just go through the may you be safe, may you be strong, may you be happy, and may you be at ease. And I found yesterday when I did that, it was interesting because The hard one was myself, and that was the first one we did, and I had a hard time settling into that. And then once I settled into it, it got easier, and I felt more at peace. But it's also something you can use for healing purposes. And if you have a past relationship or a loved one that's passed on, I had a situation in my family over 30 years ago that was very traumatic. And I thought I could use this as a tool to help heal that trauma. So that's something about speaking kind words. And as Hamid Bey says, speak kind words. A metta meditation may be a way to do that. Number 4, what are your aspirations? What do you aspire to do? Is there something new on the horizon that you're looking at? I have a lot of self-mastery students here, so that was an aspiration at one time. Now you've accomplished that. So what's next on the list? So what's next on my list is yoga teacher training. So in 2 weeks I start that. That's an aspiration I have for myself that I've kind of had in the back of my head, and the timing seems to be right. But what are your aspirations, and do they include good for others? Is there service involved for others? So how can I, for me, take my yoga and serve other people to live a more balanced and healthier life? Do something for someone. Thursday this week I was involved with a charity group called Free Wheelchair Mission. Am I doing something? And we put on a documentary at Celebration Cinema, and the charity raises funds for people in third world countries to have a wheelchair for minimal cost. It's like less than $100, and they provide wheelchairs for people in Vietnam and Guatemala and many different countries. And long story short, my daughter's from Guatemala, so we are helping with that charity. But what are you doing that's maybe doing some good for others? So just something to think about. Right behavior. So how is our behavior, is our excitement and stuff that we're doing involved in something that's, as Hamid said, wholesome excitement and wholesome fun? We don't hear that word too much anymore. But what are your activities, and are they something that is wholesome, as Hamid says? Are they enjoyable? Do you enjoy them, right? Are you happy with what you're doing? Listen to your voice of your soul. Your soul knows, right? Your soul knows what makes it happy and what brings it peace. And I have a quote from Rachel Stafford. The more I choose my heart and not what matters to the rest of the world, the more peace I felt within. So for a long time in my life, I chose what mattered to the rest of the world, to my family. As I was growing up, I worked in corporate America, and I was trying to make my bosses happy, and that never worked. So, I finally decided to make myself happy and do what brought me peace and what brought me joy. So, number 6, persevere in goodness and right effort. Right effort. God shows the way to accomplish things. So God's timing is not always our timing. Patience is required. But perseverance is in order. It may take a while, right? But we need to persevere, right? Just keep moving forward, even if it's a small amount. And God will show the way as long as we have some patience. And patience is hard to come by these days, and there's so much going on. It's hard to find that patience, but it's really important. Number 7, use your intellect with a humble attitude. We're all very smart people here. I know all of you. I know you're very intelligent. So Hamid says, use it to search for the depths of truth. So are you using your intellect for that purpose? We have books here. I think we're having a raffle, so there's some intellect, something to search for truth. And last but not least, and we hear this a lot, is learn to meditate. Seating the mind with God's presence. So meditation is how you can seed the mind with God's presence. Hamid suggests closing your eyes, focusing in on your third eye, inhaling and exhaling. And he suggests to inhale and exhale Om, Spirit, Peace, and to do this 12 times. So I'm going to have you do this, but we're going to do it quietly to ourselves. So start with closing your eyes. Focus on the third eye. Take a deep inhale. And then an exhale. And in your head, say Om, Spirit, Peace. And repeat this process 12 times. And if you're getting close to your 12th time, take a deep inhale and exhale. Hopefully you're finding a little more peace. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is move away from Hamid Bey a little bit and talk about the map of the scale of consciousness. We talked about this in self-mastery. And peace is quite high on the scale of consciousness. So is everyone familiar with David Hawkins and the scale of consciousness? I was going to bring the book and I didn't. So, but peace. So the scale of consciousness, basically, the level starts at 1,000 and goes down to 20. And 1,000 being the top highest scale of consciousness at self and enlightenment. Peace is right under that at 600. So peace is very high. Peace is above joy and above love. But it's not a competition, right? So, but it's very high. So, so what are some of the symptoms of inner peace? Anybody have any thoughts as to what you feel like when you feel inner peace? Happiness. Excellent. Anything else? Calm. I like that. So I've got this list from the Shanti Yoga Center, and they say acting spontaneously. So doing something on a whim. Does everybody like to do things on a whim? That's good. I like the head shaking. I can see that. Enjoying each moment. So being in the moment and enjoying the moment that you're in. Non-judgment of self and others. That one can be a little tougher. Right? Especially the self part. Non-interpretation of others' actions or lack of actions. So I just think of my teenagers in their rooms. So it's my challenge in life right now. Just let that go. Conflict free. So not having any conflict. And that means internal conflict as well, I imagine. Worry free. Are there things you worry about? World things or personal things, finances? Do you have an appreciation for life? Are you appreciating all the flowers budding? I know in Michigan we are appreciating all the flowers coming out. Smiling. So people that are peaceful are smiling. Just letting things happen, going with the flow. And the last one on the list was love extended. So are we extending love out? So I just want to close with a couple thoughts from Hamid Bey. I like to do word searches on Hamid Bey's material, and he has a lot of material. So I put in the word peace, and a couple of them popped up that were really meaningful, so I'll just go through those. Not until our reason becomes in harmony with spiritual law will we be free. Will we be living in actual peace? There is much to be learned, and religion is not merely a word. Religion must also be an action. Religion must be a practice, not merely a ritual once every 7 days. It has to be more realistic. Not until religion becomes part of our everyday life can we lull ourselves into thinking that we will have peace. That's one, and then I have a couple more. The ultimate unification of our consciousness will come about by peace and by wisdom. How can we have peace if there is a strong tendency towards the negative? We can only realize peace when we have acquired a peaceful state. And lastly, the moment you drink for the chalice of truth and share the water of God with your fellow man, you will receive replenishment of the truth in the form of balm for your soul, in the form of happiness and peace. And with that, I'm going to close with my favorite prayer from St. Francis. So again, if we could close our eyes and get into quiet space. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Again, St. Francis' prayer of peace. And with that, I say namaste. And I wish you all peace